Welcome students today for our class that is control and coordination. So control and coordination is everything to do with your nervous system. So it's all about control and coordination of your nervous system. So today we will see how the brain, the spinal cord together they control and coordinate. So today first I will give you few examples where you will understand what is control and coordination. For example, if you see a cake, you start automatically salivating because there is something in your brain which makes you respond in such a way. If you, for example, if you see a lion, suddenly you are so frightened that your legs start running automatically. So today we are going to see how the nervous system controls and coordinates all our movements, all our actions, including respiration, digestion, breathing. For example, the classic example is when you touch an hot object, you immediately withdraw your hand without voluntarily thinking. So before going into control and coordination, there are two terms, very important two terms which you have to understand. One is voluntary action, the other is involuntary action. What is voluntary action? Voluntary when you think and do something. For example, if you have to move a thing from here to here, you have to always, you decide beforehand that you have to move this pen from here to here. Then what is involuntary? Involuntary response is the classic example I can give you, that when you touch unknowingly when you touch any hot object, immediately your hand withdraws itself. So this is what called as involuntary action. So going to next, the whole nervous system is divided into two, that is central nervous system and also the peripheral nervous system. Now the central nervous system, if you could see on your screens, it is composed of brain, spinal cord, relay neurons, interneurons, and the peripheral nervous system consists of cranial nerves, spinal nerves, peripheral nerves, sensory neurons and motor neurons. Now if you can see here, this nervous system is completely divided. The first line of division is central and peripheral. Now what is central? Now central takes care of everything, the whole body system, the brain, the thinking, the memory, the way you speak, the actions for your response. The classic example whatever I have given you about whenever you touch an object you immediately withdraw your hand. This is nothing but everything is coordinated with the help of brain and spinal cord through central nervous system. Yes, now you understood, right? So now we'll go to the next slide, that is brain. Okay, so under the nervous system is divided into two, that is what? Central nervous system, and the central nervous system in turn is divided again into brain and spinal cord, right? So I'll just write it down for you so that you can see. That is nervous system is divided into two, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. In turn, the central nervous system is again divided into two, that is brain, and this is spinal cord. We'll go to the peripheral nervous system now. The peripheral nervous system is divided into cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. So this you should always understand, okay? That is central nervous system, brain, and the spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system is divided into cranial and the spinal nerves. Okay, now we'll go back to our slide, right? Brain. So now coming to the brain, the brain is actually divided into different regions. So before understanding the structure of brain, let us understand where the brain is exactly located. The brain is located in our skull. right? So here the brain is covered by a protective layer. I'll just show you. So the brain is covered by a protective layer called as cranium. Okay, this is cranium, and this cranium is the cartilage which protects the brain, right? The brain in turn again is covered by three layers which are called as meninges. What are they called as? These three layers are called as meninges. Okay, the outer layer is called as dura mater, and the inner layer is called as arachnoid mater, and the third layer is called as pia mater. Okay. Now we'll go back to our slide. Right. So if you can see here, the brain is protected and covered by this cranium and meninges, so that externally when there is a force applied, it will not get damaged. Now we'll go to the next slide. Now the next slide shows the different parts of the brain. On the right hand side, if you see on the top right hand side, it has frontal lobe. The dark blue color part is a frontal lobe. The left brown color part is called as the parietal lobe. Down, if you can see again, down just below the brown part, it is the green part which is called as the occipital lobe, and the blue color part, the dark blue color part, is called as the temporal lobe. Then you have cerebellum and the brainstem. I repeat once again, on the right hand side, on the topmost part, it is frontal lobe. Then after that, to the left part, the top part is called as the parietal lobe. Now again coming to down, it is called as the occipital lobe. Beside the occipital lobe, you have the temporal lobe. Then again down, you have the cerebellum. Then you have the brainstem. So now that is externally, it is divided into different parts. Now internally, we would see what are the different structures of the brain. Now this is called, the cerebral hemisphere is also called as the cerebrum. Okay, the cerebral hemisphere is also called as the cerebrum. And then you have diencephalon, the purple color part. So this brown color part, whatever you are seeing, it is a mass, right? And this is attached because it is in its place. It is holding in its place because of the brainstem. Diencephalon. Then down you have the midbrain, after which you have pons medulla oblongata, right? So these are the different parts of the brain. Now we'll go to the next slide. So now we will try to understand what are neurons. Now neurons are specialized structures which are present in the brain. The neurons are the structural and functional unit of the nervous system. What are neurons? Neurons are structural and functional unit of the brain. Now these neurons, okay, they are present on the brain. As you can see, they are very minute structures. What are the different parts of the neuron? The neuron has three parts, that is cell body, axon and dendrites. Let us see how this neuron is present in the brain. Now this is the structure of the neuron. Now the topmost part, it is the cell body, which is like star shape. Usually it will be pyramidal in shape, sometimes it is irregular in shape, and again it is also sometimes oval in shape. Now here the dendrite, what you are seeing is star shape. Now the topmost part looking like a head is called as the cell body. Now this cell body leads into a long tail-like structure which is called as the axon, where you can see on the down. So now this cell body, again it has, I'll just show you how it is. Yeah, so this is the structure of neuron, right? So I'm roughly drawing here the structure of neuron. So this is the neuron, right? This is the cell body. and this is also called as cyton. This is the axoplasm. The inside cytoplasm of the axon is called as cytoplasm. This is also like any other cell. So any other cell has cytoplasm, it has cell organelles in it, right? So this also has yes. So it also has cytoplasm, which is called as neuroplasm. So the cell body, okay, or the cyton has nucleus which is called as neuroplasm. The axon has the cytoplasm called as neuroplasm. Then just rub them. Coming to the cell body, internally it has nucleus like any other cell. It has nucleolus, right? It also has different structures like different cell organelles like mitochondria, Golgi complex, rough endoplasmic reticulum. I'm writing the short forms of it. Then there is very important structure which is called as very important structure, that is Nissl granules. These are called as Nissl granules. Now, why is this part so important? Now, these Nissl granules, they are helpful in the protein synthesis. So, they if the neuron has to acquire any kind of nutrition, these are the granules which has to produce the proteins. Now, we'll go to our next slide. Here you can also see Schwann cell, right? So, this axon is covered by sheaths which are called as myelin sheath. They are called as myelin sheath. What are they called as? They are called as myelin sheath. I think you're not able to see clearly. Once again, I'll just do it. The spelling is myelin sheath, right? Now, the space between this myelin, the axoplasm is covered by myelin sheath. The space between them is called as node of Ranvier. Node of Ranvier. Now, these myelin sheath are secreted by Schwann cells. By Schwann cells, right? So, we'll go to the next slide. Yeah. Now, what is neuromuscular junction? Now, there are trillions and billions of neurons present, right? So, I'll just stop this one. For example, this is a neuron and this is another neuron. Yes, whenever the space between these neurons, whenever they are getting connected, the space is called as synapse. What is the definition of synapse? It is nothing but when a neuron, right, when the dendrites and the axon terminals of the neuron, the junction between them is called as the synapse. Now, the synapse, it can also be like, this neurons can also be connected with the organ. Then also it is called as a synapse, right? What is neuromuscular junction? Here if you can see, this is the yellow color part. If you can see, that is a neuron. The purple is nothing but the fiber or the muscle fiber. The muscle fiber is present in the muscle. So when a neuron and an organ, when they come together, especially the muscle fiber, whenever the neuron is meeting the muscle fiber, the site where both are meeting is called as neuromuscular junction. So let us see a small animation of this, of the neurons. So the neurons have cell body, dendrites, mitochondria, axon and the neuronal zones. Now this is the structure of the neuron. Now that is the cell body. Now next we have dendrites. The processes coming out of the cell body are the dendrites. Now here if you can see, this is the enlarged structure of the cell body. It has nucleus, nucleoli. Now these dendrites again in turn they are branched. Okay, or the processes coming out of the cell body are called as dendrites. Now these dendrites, they are showing the process of sodium and potassium channels, how they are moving. It is not important for you, but I would like to tell you that here whatever you are seeing on the screen, it has membrane. Okay, this is a membranous structure, right? So it is an internal membrane and also the external membrane, right? So here something that is called as outside environment and the inside environment. So the electric impulse is carried out from the one neuron to the other neuron. So if the electric impulse have to carry from one neuron to the other neuron, there is a barrier in between. So here they are showing how the electric impulse is carried out. Now here if you can see, this is the whole cell body structure. See, those are the mitochondria. In between the brown part is nothing but, you know what is that? That is nucleus, right? You have Nissl granules in it. So this is the internal structure of the neuron. Okay. We'll go to the next slide. Yeah. So now you understood everything, right, about the brain. Then you understood what is, what are the different structures of the brain. Now you understood what is a neuron, how it functions, where it is, the structure of neuron. Now next we will go to the spinal cord, right? We have learned the structure of brain. Now we will learn the structure of the spinal cord. Now this spinal cord, if you take the TS of the spinal cord, you have the dorsal horn and the ventral horn. You can see it on your PPT. You have the dorsal horn and the ventral horn. Now you also have something called as there are two important things you have to, there are many parts in the spinal cord, but right now the most important two parts what you have to learn is nothing but what are efferent sensory information, and the second is the efferent signals to muscles and glands via the ventral root. So I'll just draw you on the pad and show you. So this is the spinal cord. Okay. So you have gray matter. You know what is gray and white matter? Usually they say the nervous system or the brain has gray and white matter. So this myelination, whenever this myelination is present on the neuron, I'll draw and show it to you. When this is the axon, okay, this is the axon. Whenever there is myelin sheath present, okay, now here it is called as myelinated axon. Myelinated axon. When there is no myelin sheath, okay, the axon is plain, there is no myelin sheath, then it is called as non-myelinated axon. So the gray part is nothing but the non-myelinated axon neurons, and the white part is the myelinated axon neurons. So I'll just show you the spinal cord structure. Now here there is dorsal root, ventral root. I'm not going into detail of the structure because it has gray matter and white matter. The most important part is nothing but the sensory receptors. Sensory receptors. And here you have the motor neurons or the receptors. You can also call it as neurons. And there are different terminologies for both of these words. Okay, so I'll just write it this side. Okay, sensory. This is motor, sensory neurons, motor neurons, right? Then you also, this sensory neurons are also called as efferent neurons or the efferent pathway. And the motor neurons are also called as efferent neurons or the efferent pathway, right? Now here, if you see, after this, we can actually understand what are sensory and motor neurons. Now these sensory and motor, if you take, the sensory usually are present on your hand. For example, you touch a hot object. The sensory neuron, okay, what do? They carry this information that the object is hot from your hand. That is nothing but the sensory neurons. They are present throughout your hand. So they carry this information to your brain. Now to the spinal cord, from the spinal cord to the brain. The brain processes its information and then sends back the information through the motor neurons or the efferent neurons again to the hand, so that you withdraw from it, right? So you are touching a hot object. As soon as you touch the hot object, there are receptors which are present. They receive and they send the information through the sensory neurons to your spinal cord and to the brain. Brain sends the command back through the motor neurons to the effector organ. Here, hand is your effector organ, that is the muscle fiber is your effector organ. So you have to withdraw your hand immediately. Now the neurons which are connecting sensory and the motor neurons are called as interneurons. These both are connected to interneurons. I'll just show you the video of it. You can just see what is happening here. Here a person is standing and you can see this person. He's very near to it, and when the vapor touches his hand, there is something happening. See, immediately, that is called as reflex action. That is called as what? When you immediately withdraw your hand, that is nothing but the reflex action. Now, reflex action is an involuntary movement. The path which the reflex action goes through is nothing but the reflex arc. Now, you can see in detail what is this reflex action. So, there is receptor. Now, it is traveling to the sensory nerve that this object is hot. The sensory nerve is carrying the information that this glass is hot. It is reaching to the spinal cord. From there, again the message is sent through the motor nerve back again to the effector organ, that is your hand or the skeletal muscle. Now this is reflex action, right? So just see the path, that is receptor. From the sensory nerves, it is going to spinal cord, motor nerves and the effectors. Okay, this is nothing but the reflex arc. Okay, now these are the few examples of reflex action. So this is also an involuntary. So whenever you do something involuntary without your knowledge, that is nothing but the reflex action and the reflex arc. This is sneezing, right? You sneeze without your knowledge. Then blinking of eyes. Whenever you blink your eyes. Then you have movement of your diaphragm. Whenever you are breathing, the diaphragm is just present below your lungs. So thank you students for being with me. Thank you so much.